Hi, we are glad we are back. My name is Jan Shepard. I am with Mr. Keogh. He'll introduce himself and welcome you as well in just a moment. Today is July the 21st of 2020, and we are making these recordings for mindfulness programs to be used however the particular institution is able to use them. We hope they are of help. We'll talk about a variety of topics around the issue of mindfulness and mindfulness meditation. We would invite you to send us questions or suggestions for what you would like us, how you would like us to be addressing mindfulness in these sessions. We'd be happy to respond to them, to have some sense of input from you. If you do have something like that you'd like to share, please send it to the chaplain or the psychologist, whoever it is that's in charge of the program at your institution, and they will be able to get that to us so that we can then respond. We'd be happy to do that if you'd like. So with that, I will let my colleague and friend, Mr. Keogh, introduce himself, and we'll begin. Oh, I was going to remind you of how these generally run. We usually have a guided meditation at the beginning, then we'll have a little bit of reflection on a topic of some sort, and then we'll end again with another guided meditation. So I'll let Mr. Keogh introduce himself, and then we'll go right into a guided meditation. Mr. Keogh.
And hello, Walt Keogh. Glad to be at least something that you can be looking at on a screen. I'm really missing not being able to come into the institutions with Jan to teach mindfulness. It's been such a valuable thing for me in my personal life that I've been coming in for a few years now to several Wisconsin institutions, sharing what I think is a very powerful practice. And we always begin, as Jan mentioned, we always begin with a meditation. It's going to be something that I will guide you through. And if you've not been experienced with meditating before, don't worry. This is something that's easy to do. It's about being at ease. It's about allowing yourself to settle. It's about kind of coming away from anxieties, concerns about the future, or issues that were in the past. So let the future and the past kind of, they're there, they'll be coming in the future, but right now, just be with us, and I'll guide you through. If you're new, I'll guide you through. And I'm going to start with a bell. And the idea of the bell is just so that you can be paying attention to what's happening right now. So pay attention to the sound of the bell. I'll ring it twice more. Now switch your attention from the sounds to the feelings, the sensations that you're experiencing right now. What do I mean by that? Just how is your body feeling? As you sit or stand, just notice, are you experiencing any pain anywhere? Is there anything that's obviously not comfortable? Just notice it and then move on to the other parts, the other sensations that are neutral or maybe even pleasant. So just be with what is in your physical sensations. If you're sitting, notice how there's gravity pushing you onto the chair or onto the bed. Notice what your fingers are touching. They might be touching each other. They might be touching your arms or your knees. And this whole idea is to be with what is present to you right now. You're alive right now. You're not alive in the future, and the past is only a memory. But right now you are experiencing things. And just try to be aware of what you're experiencing. Move to the more subtle feelings that you might not even have been aware of. If your feet are on the floor, do you notice what your toes are touching? You might close your eyes just to make these sense of touch sensations more vivid, fewer distractions. Notice you might be sitting still, but you're always moving. You're moving because you're breathing. Notice what it feels like to breathe. Not just the idea of I'm breathing, but what does it feel like? There's cool air maybe coming into the nose, some movement in the chest, in and out the belly, up and down. You might experiment a little bit by taking a couple nice deep breaths, just so that you can feel it more vividly. Of course, we all notice right away that our mind does go into the future. What's going to happen next? Or it just wanders around looking for something to think about other than what's happening right now. The mind is doing that. It's constantly on alert, constantly searching around. Just watching to see, is there something that I should be paying attention to right now? Well, that's natural and normal, but right now, hopefully you're in a situation where you can be at peace. You don't have to be too worried over the next few minutes about what's going to happen. So just let your mind come back inside your physical sensations, inside your body. Pay attention to that constant motion of breathing. When my mind is very jumpy, I go back and I start counting my breaths. And the whole idea isn't to count. The idea is to give your mind something to do. So I count in breath, count 1, and then 2 with the next in breath, and 3. And then when I get to 4, then I start over with 1 again. And sometimes this just helps calm down my mind, my busy mind. And this is the essence of meditating. It's just being present to what is happening right now without worrying about the future, without having random stories being generated. Just be here. There might be sounds and distractions where you're sitting. Just let those sounds happen. Don't try to block them out. Don't get worried or upset if you're always being distracted. Try to let those distractions just kind of roll off your back like water off a duck's back. Just let them happen. Just let those sounds wash over you while you are stable, peaceful here. Because sounds can't really touch you. So this is a process of coming back again and again to being aware of what's happening right now. Just being open, allowing things to happen, but watching as they happen without being carried away into why or why not. or what's next. After a while, you might notice you've got tension in your shoulders that you don't need to have. Just let your shoulders slump down, relax. Let your body relax. So we say relaxed body, but alert mind. And the mind is alert to what is happening right now, not being carried away, not into one digression after another, not into distractions, but just watching, 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 staying present, staying firmly grounded, and allowing the body to relax. You might release your jaw if it's tense. There's no need to have a tense jaw. We carry a lot of tension in our jaws. Just let the jaw relax. Always coming back to the breath when we notice that we're somewhere else. I'm going to bring this to a close with another sound of the bell in maybe about 30 seconds. So just let these last few seconds be a time when you can be very present, alert, yet relaxed.
Thank you, Mr. Keogh. So I think what I'd like to do is maybe follow up on some of the thoughts and suggestions that Mr. Keogh had about how meditation actually operates, what it is we're sort of aiming at. So this last weekend I attended, it seems a funny word, an online retreat. So the retreat was all just like this on Zoom, where the teacher was on Zoom and there were all these other, what was it? I think it was 120 other people. But this particular teacher, one of the things that he focuses on a lot in a very clear, I think, and helpful way is just what Mr. Keogh was talking about, in that our meditation is about, the word he used was receptivity. So that's kind of a long word. It means just that in meditation, we are the receiver. We are receiving our own experience. We're receiving the experience of awareness, what awareness is registering. And that is different than the way we normally relate to the world. That what we normally do is we conceive, was the word he used. So conceiving is thinking, structuring, making, fabricating, developing, analyzing, figuring out. As opposed to this idea that our meditation is about receptivity, about allowing what is present to be known without reaching out for it, without pushing it away. That one of the ways I think about it, I used to do this sometimes in classes when people were face to face, is I would do a little exercise of gift giving. And I would tell people that I would set them up in pairs, and I would have one person be the giver, the gift giver, and one person be the gift receiver. And I would just, we would use a pen or a book or anything, and we would just say that, so person A should give the gift to person B. And always when this happened, person B would reach out and grab it, person B would look at them and, maybe smile. And those are all lovely things. But I was promising them they were going to get that gift. And so then the second time, what I would do is I would say, this time, see what it would be like to trust in the reception of that gift. That you don't have to grab it, you don't have to hold it, you don't have to look at the person and smile. Can you just be present and just let the gift arrive? Just let the gift come to you. Because I promise you it's going to. And that's really the way we can relate to our breath and to whatever it is that arises in our awareness. That what we're learning to do is to become more aware of the flow of our experience, the flow of awareness. To notice that when we move, either close our eyes or lower our eyes and move into our meditation, there will be all kinds of things that come into awareness. And can we learn, because it is a learning, to just notice those things, recognize all that is flowing through in awareness. And what is difficult, I think, about that is that we're used to having getting clarity and kind of grabbing on to what we experience and then moving on with it, rather than this idea of kind of stepping back, of opening and just letting experience flow through. Because when we do that, there will be many things that are arising. That in one moment it might be a warmth in your shoulder, and in the next moment it might be the noticing the chest lifting and falling, and then it might be an awareness of a sound, and then it might be an awareness of a breeze, and then it might be awareness of a thought, and then it might be that it's constantly changing, and that what we're used to doing is kind of either reaching out and grabbing at particular experiences and latching onto them and then having the mind build on that, or noticing something and tossing it away, pushing it away, not wanting it. And this is different than that. This isn't fixing what we don't like. It's not building on what we like. It's not pushing away. It's just sitting there. It's like sitting in a park on a bench and just hearing the birds, feeling the breeze, watching the leaves. You're not adding anything. You're bringing awareness to what is present. And in that process of bringing awareness to what is present, there is an enormous amount of peace and calm and ease. And so it's not passive, because it takes, as we all know, it takes energy to do this, right? We're much more used to hearing one sound or feeling one thought and running with it. We're off. And then the mind starts to chew and build and grow. So it takes effort. It is not passive, but it is non-reactive. It is non-contentious. We're not resisting. It is open. It is allowing. It is kind. It is sympathetic. It's recognizing how things are in this very moment. And that this very moment is important because it's also recognizing how quickly it changes, that our awareness is moving all the time, that there are so many things entering and leaving awareness. And we are learning to connect with awareness rather than with thoughts about what's happening, rather than with plans about how to change it, rather than with fears about why we don't like it. We're just receiving this gift of our breath, of our life, of this moment. It is a gift. It will come to us. It is here. We are guaranteed it. For every moment we are alive, we are guaranteed this gift. We don't have to run out and grab it. And learning how to just be present to receive it is what we're practicing in this moment. So I'm just suggesting that in your meditation to try out, and maybe in the final meditation I'll give some guidance around that, to try out just remembering in every time you can, every instance you can, okay, what's present now? What am I experiencing? What's being experienced? Not even the I experiencing, just what's being experienced? What's in awareness in this moment? And there's always something in awareness. So there's always something for us to notice. And we're learning how we might do that, how we might receive that awareness as a gift, moment by moment. So let me stop right there and see if Mr. Keogh wants to add anything or comment in any way.
Very, very interesting subject. And I think that what I'll do is underline one or two things that you said, Jan. This is not about zoning out. It's not about just, one time a guy asked me, oh, is meditating kind of like when I'm sitting on the beach? And I think it depends on what you're doing when you're sitting on the beach. If you're on a beautiful situation, but you're actually 100 miles away, imagining something, your imagination's going wild, then I don't think that's meditating. Yeah. So it's not zoning out. It's actually practice. We're actually when we're doing this, when meditating, we're actually training ourselves. Like Jan mentioned, that we're not reacting to what's happening, and that's the training for life. When we want to be a little bit less reactive, we want to stop, look, and listen before we take that responsive step. So we're responding after, from our best interest. So we're not talking about just letting anything happen to me. That's not it at all. But I'm not simply reacting impulsively. If I've kind of trained myself when I'm meditating to be a little bit more receptive, as Jan used, or a little bit, another term is be with what is, let go of my need to immediately jump into action. Maybe wait for a breath before I jump into action. That's training in itself, because out in the world, you don't always necessarily want to be, you don't always want to do what your first impulse leads you to do. You want to kind of be a little bit more take everything into account here and do the smartest thing. So we're training ourselves for life by doing, besides the important thing that Jan said, which is that it makes our sitting much more enjoyable if we're just kind of not trying to grasp at things. We just notice, hey, it's pretty nice. Just kind of, it's pretty nice to, another term is I'm just surfing the waves. I'm just watching what happens. It's pretty nice if I don't feel like I need to control things. I just let it happen. I control it in one way. I tweak it so that I stay on the wave. You know, if I notice, oops, I've gone off into a long thought progression, I'm not on that wave anymore. I'm not surfing the wave of what's happening right now. So then I got to tweak it, come back. You know, but that's about all. Just little tweaks. That comes, and it becomes a little bit more realistic to be doing that if I've been meditating more and I kind of have a better understanding the way my mind, the tricks that my mind plays. I'm always having to fine tune to really be with what is. I always have to be bringing my mind back because it always wants to run away. But I kind of I know the game a little bit better now. So, so I just wanted to emphasize that there's a real practical impact, Jan.
Yeah, lovely. Thank you. Yes, thank you for raising that zoning out question, because that is one we get a lot. And it's absolutely not zoning out, because the difference is zoning out, you're giving your mind free range. Your mind is just totally wandering. This is completely the opposite. This is staying present with what is arising in the mind in any moment. And that, just as Mr. Keogh said, that takes energy, that takes effort, that takes intention, that takes attention. That staying with it, realizing, oh, well, that last awareness of warmth in my arm generated this long storyline about how hot it is here. That's not awareness, that's a storyline. And so then you come back to, oh, what's the warmth in my, now the other arm also feels warm. Now my whole trunk feels warm. I do feel warm there. And then maybe you notice a sound or you notice something else. That it's connecting in with this flow of what's actually happening, actual experience, not a flow of the mind wandering off and just zoning out. It's the flow of what's actually arising in our awareness moment to moment. And we need to, again, as Mr. Keogh said, it's a training to stay with that, to flow with the wave, to stay with the wave and notice when we're no longer in the wave. Instead, we have gotten caught up in some sort of reactivity or judgment or fear or worry or story, or all the ways that we get pulled away from knowing this very moment, receiving what's coming at us in this moment without reactivity. Other thoughts, Mr. Keogh? I can't remember. There was one other thing I was going to say. I can't remember what.
Well, I can just kind of riff on that idea of the when we're less reactive, when we're not automatically reacting to what happens, then there's more room for our true self to come into the picture. What our real desires are. So if I'm just watching things happen to me and I'm not being carried away, then I can truly be a more truly in control of what happens. And what I can control is not what's going on out there. I can control what's happening within myself. So there's a thing where we're called human beings. And what does that mean? That means that we are living, we are being. And human beings do things. But a lot of times we think that we are what we do. We're only thinking about what's the thing I've got to do? What's the thing I've got to control? And a lot of it is, I got to be careful. I got to control this. I got to watch out because there's danger, there's fear out there, whatever. Or I really want something, so I've got to control. I got to go get what I want. But if we kind of just take a step back, even if it's only temporary, just for a little while. And I don't have to worry about either trying to keep away things that I don't like or grab on things that I want. And I'm just here. I'm just being. Then my true character comes out. My real better self comes out. And it's a way that's not related to what I do, how successful I am, whether things worked out well outside or not, or whether there's some big storm cloud coming. It's no, I'm just here. I'm just living. I'm just doing my thing. I'm just being myself. And that's a powerfully valuable experience to have. And we want to cultivate that as much as we can.
Thank you. Help me remember the other thought I had as well, which is one of the ways that you can conceive of this practice is that what you're doing in your meditation practice is you're letting your mind rest. Not rest in falling asleep, not rest in giving up alertness, but rest in just being at ease, not reacting, not having to respond to everything that comes at it, not having to make judgments about everything that comes at it, not having to protect against everything that comes at it, but just rest. That meditation, as we develop the skill and train in this practice, it becomes fundamentally a way to rest the mind. Our minds are so busy, they go all the time, even at night, right? We're dreaming, going and thinking, and this meditation is actually gives us more rest than sleeping because it lets the mind be at ease. And so this ability to begin to learn how to rest the mind, is so important. It's in the body, we have the same problem, right? Our bodies are tense. We don't know how to rest them, how to relax them. We have to learn, oh my God, I don't have to keep my shoulders up here. I've had to learn that. I don't always remember. Oh, I can let them relax. When we do the meditation practice, we talk about noticing tension places in your body. Can you let it relax? We're doing the same with the mind, not in putting it to sleep and not in letting it zone, which is the confusion that we often have about what this means, but in letting it be awake and resting at ease, still. So maybe we should, was there anything else you wanted to add, or should we go to
add one little thing there?
Sure.
Which is that this has nothing to do with being smart about being careful in our environment and watching out for dangers that are out there, that one can be very alert without necessarily being highly reactive to it. Or put another way, I can be at rest while being fully aware of anything that's out there that I need to be careful about. It's not one or the other. It's actually the best back in the early days of humanity, the most successful man who was hunting was the one who could sit still and be very alert and let that, whatever it was, rabbit or deer, get close enough to grab, being totally alert and not zoning out, but on the other hand, being able to sit there for a long time comfortably.
That's right, absolutely. And that comfort requires that the body is at rest.
Yeah.
That if you're tense, you can't sit for long periods of time.
Right.
So absolutely. So let's do one more meditation. I'll put the image on the screen again so that if you'd like to have your... Sorry, I just stopped the recording for a minute. I just started it again. I'm going to share the screen. Okay. So noticing your body, noticing if the posture you are currently in doesn't allow the body to relax, then change it. Do whatever you need to do to allow the shoulders to drop down and back, the hands to be resting either together or on your thighs, your feet in a comfortable position on the floor. If you're sitting cross-legged in a position that your body can sustain, your head and neck upright, an extension of the spine, but none of it rigid, all of it at ease, so that you can sit there comfortably. That in itself is a learning, isn't it? Not something we've maybe learned to do, to sit still. For much of our life, maybe we've just always fidgeted if some feeling has arisen. Here we're learning how to sit still. Still but not rigid. Still but not tense. And once the body is aligned in some way that feels comfortable, turning attention inside. Turning attention to our awareness. And noticing what is being received through the faculty of awareness right now. Noticing a sense of the mind going out to look for it, to look for, oh, what's out there, what's coming at me. See if you can soften that. Not let that take over, because that's not really a receiving. That's a going out and looking. How might that going out and looking sit down, relax, and just wait to receive whatever is present? It's a different relationship to our experience. Thinking about the experience of the breath as receiving each breath. Receiving the experience of the breath as it inhales, as there's exhale. And in that experience of receiving, you may notice that there's all kinds of things happening. There may be movement in the chest. There may be sensations in the hands or the face or the body. We're not getting stuck on any one. We're letting the flow of this incredibly complex experience of being alive enter our awareness and flow through. Surfing the wave, as Mr. Keogh said, of being alive. What is it like to be alive and breathing in this very moment? When we ask a question like that, we're not looking for a thought answer. We're looking for an experiential understanding. Because often the experience of this moment isn't easily put in words. It's shifting, changing, flowing. Words make it fixed. And we're connecting to the shifting, changing, flowing part of it. the incredible ability of awareness to be with all of that as it's happening, as it's changing, as it's shifting, as it's flowing. Words are much too slow to capture that. So let the words go and just stay with the experience. And if you notice that you have gotten caught, reacted, followed some thought line, totally normal, not a problem, not an issue, no need to react. Just realize, oh, not where I want to be. Come back to receiving this gift of each breath. Well, thank you for showing up today. We're happy to have this chance to be here with you. I do consider it being with you. We think of you. We hope you are really well. Mr. Kia?
Just want any viewers to know that you're not forgotten, that there are the two of us on the screen, but there are many other people who are thinking and aware, imagining how tough it can be in some situations, and we're all hoping that we'll be able to get out of this together. So take care of yourself.
And always remember you have everything you need inside. So take care. We'll see you, we hope, in a couple of weeks. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.